It is the planned Muslim-centric neighborhood set just 40 miles north of Dallas, and it's got a lot of attention nationwide and from the top leaders of Texas. Yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott announcing the state has halted any construction of Epic City and has launched multiple investigations into the development.
February 2024, rural Texas. Here, on a quiet stretch of rural land, developers unveiled a bold and unprecedented plan, a 402-acre city designed entirely around Islamic values. Not just a mosque, not a cultural center, an entire town with over 1,000 homes, Islamic schools, parks, commercial spaces, and multiple mosques. A place where Muslim families could live, study, worship, and raise their children on their terms. The announcement sent shockwaves across the state. Texas Governor Greg Abbott quickly voiced strong opposition, warning about the creation of what he called a Sharia city. Attorney General Ken Paxton launched an investigation, citing possible violations of state law. But to the Muslim families behind the plan, this isn't extremism. It's protection. Because despite what the Constitution promises, many Muslims in America still live with fear. Their children are bullied in classrooms. Women have their hijabs ripped off in public. Mosques are vandalized with hate-filled graffiti and sometimes even set on fire. So when a community decides to build its own safe space, a city where its identity is embraced rather than hidden, can you really blame them? And in many ways, Texas makes perfect sense. It's a state built on contrast, on unlikely combinations that somehow work. Here, tradition and progress live side by side. So if a bold, faith-based city could rise anywhere in America, it would be here. And in today's video, we're exploring some of the most culturally surprising and diverse places in all of Texas. But before we start, here's a little question to entertain you. What is the name of the bold new Muslim city being built in Texas? A. Medina Heights. B. Crescent Grove. C. Epic City. D. Al Noor Valley. Share your opinion in the comments and patiently watch this video till the end to find out the truth. Number 10. Oldest Polish community. In South Texas, about an hour southeast of San Antonio, sits a village unlike any other in the United States. It's called Panna Maria, and it holds a special place in American history. This is the oldest permanent Polish settlement in the country. The town was founded on Christmas Eve, 1854. Dozens of Polish families arrived from the Silesia region of Europe. They came looking for land, freedom, and a place to keep their faith. What they built here still stands today. They named the place Panna Maria, which means Virgin Mary in Polish. Their deep faith shaped the identity of the town from the very beginning. One of the first buildings they constructed was a church. The Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary was completed just months later, in 1855. Its white steeple still rises above the prairie, and its doors remain open to this day. Inside, you'll find original stained glass windows and carved wooden pews. The church became the center of daily life for the settlers. It was where they prayed, gathered, and passed on their traditions. Right next to the church is something more recent, but just as important. The Polish Heritage Center opened in 2021 after years of planning and community effort. This modern museum shares the story of the town's founders and the Polish-American experience. Visitors can explore historic photographs, traditional clothing, farming tools, and handwritten letters. There are also digital exhibits, oral histories, and programs for school groups. It's a place where the past speaks directly to the present. Today, Panna Maria is a small and quiet place. Only about 30 people live here full-time. But every year, the town draws visitors from across Texas and beyond. Each October, the town hosts its biggest event, the Homecoming Turkey Dinner. Hundreds of people gather to enjoy traditional Polish food, live music, and a sense of shared heritage. There's also Youth Day, where local students learn about Polish culture through crafts, storytelling, and guided tours. One of the most important figures in Panna Maria's history was Father Leopold Motzygemba. He was the priest who led the first group of settlers to Texas. On that first night in 1854, he held mass under a large oak tree. That same tree still stands today, and in 1974, his remains were returned and buried beneath it. A stone monument now marks the site. Even after more than 170 years, Panna Maria is still standing. The church still holds services. The fields still stretch out in every direction. And the people still take pride in what their ancestors built. This little village reminds us that Texas is more than cowboys and oil fields. It's also a place of deep cultural roots that come from all over the world. Before we dive deeper into this explosive story, please take a moment to hit that like button. It's a small action, but it helps YouTube's algorithm promote our videos to a wider audience. Number 9. Swaman Arrayan Mandir. In the town of Stafford, just outside Houston, stands one of the most unexpected landmarks in Texas. The BAPS Sri Swaman Arrayan Mandir looks like it was transported straight from India. Its white marble towers rise into the Texas sky, carved with symbols and sacred figures. The temple opened in 2004 and took just over a year to build. But its stones began their journey thousands of miles away. In India, artisans carved more than 33,000 pieces of marble and limestone by hand. Each piece was numbered, packed, and shipped to Texas. There, volunteers assembled the temple without using any metal, just stone fitted perfectly together. The finished structure stands 73 feet tall and stretches across more than 11,000 square feet. Its walls are covered in floral designs, religious motifs, and intricate geometric patterns. It is a place built for prayer, peace, and wonder. Next to the temple is a traditional wooden haveli. It serves as a gathering place for worship, learning, and community events. Here, Houston's Indian American families celebrate culture while raising new generations in Texas. The Indian community in Houston began growing quickly after the 1965 immigration reforms. Many families came as doctors, engineers, and entrepreneurs. They brought with them their language, their faith, and a deep respect for tradition. Texas gave them space to grow. They gave back by building something that all Texans can admire. Today, the Mandir welcomes more than 150,000 visitors each year. Many attend special events. Others come just to walk the grounds or admire the architecture. One of the largest celebrations here is Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. During the event, the entire temple glows with candles and lanterns. Families walk together through the lights, enjoying music, food, and shared joy. Another major festival is Janmashtami, which celebrates the birth of Lord Krishna. Visitors take part in singing, dancing, and colorful traditional ceremonies. The entire complex fills with energy, culture, and sound. Guests are welcome year-round, whether they come to worship or simply to learn. Guided tours explain the meaning behind the temple's design and beliefs. Just next door, a vegetarian cafe offers traditional Indian meals in a peaceful setting. Our team needs your help. Subscribe to our channel to help more people learn the truth about current events. And now, we move on. Number 8. Fort Worth Stockyards. If there's one place where Texas history still walks the streets, it's the Fort Worth Stockyards. This is not a replica or a theme park, it's the real thing. The district has preserved its original cattle-era charm, from red brick buildings to creaky wooden sidewalks, and every corner of it tells a story. In the late 1800s, Fort Worth was the last stop for cowboys before heading north. Millions of cattle were driven here, bought, sold, and loaded onto trains bound for the rest of the country. This is how Fort Worth earned its nickname, Cowtown. Today, the Stockyards keep that legacy alive in a way no other place can. One of the main attractions is the Fort Worth Herd, a real longhorn cattle drive through the heart of the district. It happens twice a day at 11:30 a.m. and 4 p.m., and it draws a crowd every single time. Longhorns move slowly down Exchange Avenue, guided by drovers in cowboy hats and spurs. These aren't actors. They're real cowhands, doing what Texans have done for generations. The sound of hooves, the swing of lassos, and the size of the longhorns themselves, it's unforgettable. Each steer has horns that can stretch 6 feet from tip to tip. They move calmly through the street, just as they did more than a century ago. Inside the Stockyards Coliseum, the rodeo happens every weekend. Built in 1908, this is where you'll see bull riding, bronc busting, and barrel racing under the same roof as past legends. Families come from across Texas to watch, cheer, and sometimes hold their breath as riders try to last 8 seconds. Outside the arena, there's even more to explore. Shops sell handmade boots and cowboy hats. Saloons serve up brisket and cold drinks. You'll hear country music playing on the sidewalks, blending perfectly with the creak of saddle leather and the clang of spurs. There's a museum called the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame, filled with old saddles, championship belt buckles, and personal stories. It's a quiet reminder that the cowboy life wasn't just about drama, it was about grit, pride, and doing hard work well. You can also hop on a vintage train that rolls into the district, just like the ones that carried cattle eastward 100 years ago. And during holidays and festivals, the Stockyards come fully alive, with parades, concerts, and fireworks lighting up the night sky. Want to help us grow? Share our new video on X. Every share counts. Number 7. The Painted Churches. In the quiet towns of Central Texas, you'll find churches that look plain from the outside. Simple white steeples rise above farmland, and wooden doors creak open in the breeze. But once you step inside, the scene changes completely. These are the Painted Churches of Texas. Built by German and Czech immigrants in the late 1800s, they hide breathtaking artwork behind modest exteriors. Walls and ceilings are covered in rich colors, hand-painted patterns, and religious scenes that look like they belong in Europe. Many visitors are stunned by the contrast, plain on the outside, dazzling on the inside. You'll find these churches in small communities like Schulenburg, Dubina, High Hill, and Praha. Each one tells a different story, but all were built with the same goal: to bring beauty and comfort to people starting a new life in a new land. These immigrants had left everything behind in Europe, and in Texas they wanted churches that reminded them of home. Since most settlers couldn't afford stained glass or marble, they got creative. They used paint to transform wood and plaster into something extraordinary. Columns were made to look like stone. Flat ceilings were painted to look like arched domes. Every flower, star, and angel was carefully added by hand, using simple brushes and steady faith. One of the most famous is St. Mary's Church in High Hill. Locals call it the Queen of the Painted Churches. Inside, the ceiling glows deep blue with golden stars. Soft light filters in through stained glass, touching murals of saints and sky. In Dubina, the first Czech settlement in Texas, another St. Mary's Church is filled with floral patterns. They wrap around columns and arches like living vines. And in tiny Praha, a red brick church hides detailed altars, hand-painted in delicate pastels. Many of these churches are still active. On Sunday mornings, you'll hear hymns sung in English and Czech. Some churches even keep bilingual prayer books, preserving the language of their founders. You don't have to attend Mass to visit. Self-guided tours are welcome throughout the year. Or you can take part in a guided tour that connects several churches in one day, often led by local volunteers who know the stories by heart. Most churches are small and easy to explore. Pews are still polished, and floors still echo when you walk. They're kept up by local communities who take great pride in preserving their history. Have you ever visited one of these churches or heard of a hidden gem like this in your travels? Tell us in the comments and let us know which small-town Texas treasure left the biggest impression on you. Number 6. Fredericksburg. Nestled in the heart of the Texas Hill Country is a town that feels like a step into another world. Fredericksburg is famous for its deep German roots, and that heritage is alive in every corner of the city. Stroll down Main Street, and you'll see buildings that look like they were lifted straight out of 19th century Europe. Stone walls, timber frames, and tidy flower boxes give the town a storybook charm that's rare in the American South. But Fredericksburg isn't just about looks. It's about the spirit of the people who built it. In the 1840s, German settlers came here with little more than dreams and determination. They didn't just survive. They created a thriving town that still honors their culture today. You'll find it in the food, the music, and the festivals. Local bakeries still make traditional German bread. You might hear live polka music drifting through the air on a Saturday afternoon. One of the town's most iconic spots is the Vereinskirche, a white octagonal building standing proudly in the town square. It served as a church, school, and community hall all in one. Today, it's a small museum and a powerful reminder of the town's roots. Just a few steps away, shops and cafes welcome visitors with warm Texas hospitality and a nod to old-world charm. Texas pride runs strong in Fredericksburg. The people here are known for their friendliness and their fierce love for both their heritage and their home state. You'll often hear German phrases mixed with a Texas twang. It's a blend that somehow works perfectly. Texans have a way of embracing the past while keeping one eye on the future. Visitors come from all over to see the wildflower-covered hills, especially during bluebonnet season. The scenery around Fredericksburg is some of the most beautiful in Texas. Rolling hills, vineyards, and scenic drives make it easy to fall in love with the land. And when the sun sets over the hills, turning everything gold, you understand why the early settlers chose this place. Fredericksburg is also a hub for Texas wine. The surrounding area is dotted with family-owned wineries, many of which welcome guests for tastings. Wine culture here is relaxed and welcoming, Texan through and through. You won't find snobbery, just good wine and great conversation. Museums in town highlight more than just German roots. The National Museum of the Pacific War, surprisingly, is located right here. It honors Admiral Chester Nimitz, a native son of Fredericksburg, and a key figure in World War II. Texans take pride in their history, and this museum is one of the finest of its kind in the country. At Christmas time, Fredericksburg turns magical. The town square glows with lights, and a towering German-style Christmas pyramid spins in the center. Locals come out in full force to celebrate, blending Texas cheer with old-world holiday traditions. Have you ever visited a town that felt like two cultures living as one? What do you think makes Fredericksburg so special? Tell us in the comments, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Number 5. Castroville. Tucked away just west of San Antonio is a quiet Texas town with a surprising twist, Castroville, known as the Little Alsace of Texas. This charming community was founded in 1844 by immigrants from the Alsace region of France, and to this day, it still holds tightly to those French roots, offering visitors a unique blend of European tradition and Texas pride. Walking through Castroville feels like stepping into a forgotten corner of France. The homes are unlike anything else in the state. Many are made from thick limestone with steep, sloped roofs and wooden shutters. Some have been standing for over 150 years, lovingly preserved by generations of proud Texans. Every detail tells a story, from the hand-laid stone walls to the carefully tended gardens out front. At the heart of the town stands the beautiful St. Louis Catholic Church. Built in the mid-1800s, it's more than a place of worship. It's a symbol of the town's faith, strength, and deep connection to its French heritage. Inside, the high ceilings and stained glass windows create a peaceful atmosphere that speaks to the devotion of the settlers who built it. What makes Castroville stand out isn't just the architecture, it's the feeling you get when you're there. The streets are quiet, lined with oak trees and historic homes. Locals wave as you pass by. There's a sense that time moves a little slower here, and that's a good thing. It gives you the chance to soak it all in. Texas is known for its cultural diversity, and Castroville is a perfect example of that. The settlers from Alsace brought more than just building styles. They brought customs, recipes, and even a dialect that once echoed in these streets. While much of the old Alsatian language has faded, the spirit behind it remains strong. One of the best ways to feel the town's heritage is through its food. Local bakeries still make hearty Alsatian bread. At certain times of the year, festivals bring out traditional dishes and family recipes passed down through the generations. Even the pastries have a European touch, blending perfectly with Texas hospitality. Just outside the town, you'll find wide fields and farmland, a reminder that these early settlers worked hard to build a life from the land. Today, Castroville still celebrates its agricultural roots. Small farms, family businesses, and local shops keep the town running with care and pride. Have you ever been to a town that surprised you with its history? What other places in Texas do you think have hidden European roots? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Number 4. The Promised Land. There's a chapter of Texas history that many people have never heard, and it begins in Galveston. In the early 1900s, this coastal city became the gateway to what some called a new Promised Land. Thousands of Jewish immigrants fleeing persecution in Eastern Europe arrived here, not by accident, but by design. This was part of a bold plan, a movement that saw Texas as a land of freedom, opportunity, and fresh beginnings. Unlike the crowded immigrant ports of the Northeast, Galveston offered something different. It was quiet, open, and full of promise. Jewish leaders worked together to create a path for newcomers that would lead not to tenement buildings, but to fields, small towns, and a new kind of American life. They believed that Texas could offer something better, and they were right. From 1907 to 1914, over 10,000 Jewish immigrants passed through Galveston's port. Texas welcomed them with open arms. These new Texans adapted quickly to their surroundings, blending their heritage with local customs. Synagogues began to appear in towns that had never seen one before. Kosher butchers and bakeries opened their doors beside barbecue joints and general stores. In some places, Hebrew prayers were heard just a few blocks away from country music. Galveston was more than just a port. It was a symbol of hope. For many immigrants, stepping off the ship and into the Texas sunlight felt like crossing into a dream. The palm trees, the warm Gulf breeze, the friendly faces. It was a new world, one where they could live without fear and build something lasting. The story of the Galveston movement is one of courage and vision. It's about people who believed in Texas before they had even seen it. And it's about Texans who proved themselves to be generous, welcoming, and full of heart. That spirit still lives on today. Across the state, Jewish heritage is celebrated in festivals, museums, and everyday life. In Galveston itself, reminders of this history are still standing. Historic synagogues and buildings tell the story of families who arrived with almost nothing, but left behind legacies of strength and faith. Walking through these streets, you can almost feel the footsteps of those first immigrants. You can picture their hopes, their fears, and the quiet determination that helped shape this great state. Texas has always been a land of second chances. For those Jewish immigrants, it truly was a promised land. One built not just on dreams, but on hard work, resilience, and the warmth of a state that opened its arms wide. Have you ever heard of the Galveston movement before? Why do you think Texas was such a perfect place for people seeking a fresh start? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Number 3. Big Bend National Park. Deep in West Texas, where the sky stretches wider than most people have ever seen, lies a natural treasure unlike any other, Big Bend National Park. Covering over 800,000 acres, this park is one of the largest and most remote in the country. It's a place where silence speaks, where stars seem to hang just above your head, and where nature still feels wild and untouched. Big Bend gets its name from a dramatic curve in the Rio Grande River, where the water forms a giant bend as it separates Texas from Mexico. The river winds through deep canyons carved from ancient rock, some rising hundreds of feet above the water. One of the most iconic of these is Santa Elena Canyon, with sheer walls that glow golden at sunset. The landscape here is bold and varied. You can hike through desert valleys filled with blooming cacti, then climb into forested mountains where the air turns cool and crisp. The Chisos Mountains rise up right in the middle of the park. These are the only mountain range in the United States completely contained within a national park. Texans are proud of that, and rightly so. Wildlife thrives in Big Bend. You might spot roadrunners darting across the trails or hear the howl of a coyote echoing at night. If you're lucky, you might even catch a glimpse of a black bear or a mountain lion. Texans take care of their land, and it shows in the way this park protects its plants and animals. The night skies at Big Bend are legendary. With almost no light pollution, the stars shine in a way most people have never seen before. On clear nights, the Milky Way spreads across the sky like a glowing river. It's no wonder this park is recognized as one of the best places for stargazing in the entire country. For generations, Texans have visited Big Bend to reconnect with nature. Families camp here, hikers challenge themselves on rugged trails, and photographers chase the perfect light across the desert. But even if you're not hiking, there's still so much to enjoy. Scenic drives take you past sweeping views, and hot springs along the river offer a quiet spot to relax and reflect. Big Bend is also a place of deep history. Native peoples lived here for thousands of years, leaving behind rock art and tools that tell their stories. Later, ranchers and settlers carved out a living in this tough land. Today, the park honors all those who came before while preserving the land for future generations. Texas is proud of its wide-open spaces, and Big Bend shows just how special they are. It's not flashy or crowded. It's not easy to get to, but maybe that's what makes it so magical. It's a place where Texans and visitors from around the world can step away from the noise and feel something bigger than themselves. Have you ever been to a place where the silence felt powerful? What do you think makes Big Bend one of the crown jewels of Texas? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Number 2. Kado Lake. There's a place in East Texas that feels more like a dream than real life. Kado Lake is unlike any other lake in the Lone Star State. It's a world of calm, dark water, winding bayous, and towering, bald cypress trees draped in Spanish moss. This isn't just a lake, it's a mysterious, magical wetland that feels frozen in time. Kado Lake stretches across the Texas-Louisiana border, but many of its most beautiful spots are right here in Texas. It's one of the few natural lakes in the state, and locals are proud of that. While other Texas lakes were created by dams, Kado formed naturally, likely after a giant log jam changed the course of the Red River centuries ago. The first thing people notice about Kado is the trees. The bald cypress grows straight out of the water, their roots twisting into strange, beautiful shapes. On a misty morning, with the sun just rising, the lake turns into a living painting. Light dances on the water. Shadows stretch between the trees. Everything feels quiet and sacred. This lake is rich with life. Turtles bask on logs. Herons stalk the shallows. Alligators glide silently through the water, just their eyes above the surface. Fish jump in the distance. Frogs call to each other as the sun goes down. Texans know how to protect a treasure like this, and they've kept Kado Lake wild and full of wonder. Boating here is like nothing else in Texas. Narrow waterways twist and turn like a maze. Every bend reveals something new. You can paddle a canoe through lily-covered channels or take a flat-bottom boat out to explore the deeper waters. There's no rush on Kado. Time slows down and the lake invites you to do the same. History runs deep in these waters. Kado Lake takes its name from the Kado people, who lived here long before Texas became a state. They thrived on this land, fishing, farming, and building villages along the shore. Today, their legacy is honored through preservation efforts and cultural landmarks in the area. Texans have long been drawn to this special place. Families fish from the banks, campers tell stories under the stars, and artists try to capture the lake's beauty in paint and photographs. In towns like Uncertain and Karnak, life still moves at a slower pace. People here understand that they live next to something rare and precious. Kado Lake reminds us that Texas isn't all desert and wide-open plains. It's also mossy, swampy, and full of mystery. It's a side of Texas that many have never seen, but one that's just as powerful, just as Texan as the rest. Now it's time to find out the correct answer to the quiz. What is the name of the bold new Muslim city being built in Texas? A. Medina Heights. B. Crescent Grove. C. Epic City. D. Al Noor Valley. The correct answer is C. Epic City. Number 1. Epic City. In the heart of Texas, where freedom is a sacred value and identity runs deep, a bold and unsettling plan has begun to stir real debate. It's called Epic City, a proposed town designed from the ground up for Muslim families only. Not just a neighborhood, not just a district, but an entire city, built around one religion, one culture, and one way of life. At first glance, it looks like a peaceful vision. Tree-lined streets, solar-powered homes, schools, clinics, and grocery stores. But at the center of everything, mosques, Islamic schools, modest dress codes, and a strong emphasis on religious structure. Supporters say it's a dream. Critics say it's a warning. But to understand why this project exists, you have to look at what led to it. Across the U.S., and yes, even in Texas, Muslim Americans have faced growing hostility. Girls in hijabs have been bullied in schools. Mosques have been vandalized. For many Muslim families, the American promise of freedom doesn't always feel like a promise kept. So for some, Epic City isn't just a plan, it's a necessary refuge. A place to live without fear of hate, judgment, or violence. A place where children can walk to Islamic school without being stared at. Where women can wear what they choose without fear of attack. Where the call to prayer won't be met with complaints, but with respect. But here's where it gets complicated. This is Texas. Governor Greg Abbott quickly voiced strong opposition. His office called the project troubling, raising concerns about cultural isolation, foreign influence, and whether a faith-based city would uphold Texas values. Texans across the political spectrum have weighed in, some defending religious freedom, others fearing the creation of a parallel society behind invisible walls. The planned location is far from major cities. The developers chose a quiet rural stretch of land. Some say it's for peace, others say it's for control. Renderings show clean streets, Islamic architecture, and families living within what looks to outsiders like a gated world apart. Epic City has sparked something deeper than a zoning debate. It's raised fears that America is fragmenting, people building entire cities to escape one another. And yet, for the Muslim families behind this project, it's not about escape. It's about survival, dignity, and reclaiming a sense of safety in a country that often feels hostile. So where does Texas draw the line? The state has long prided itself on doing things differently, on welcoming newcomers and on standing up for personal liberty. But what happens when those newcomers want to build a city governed by their own religious code? Is this just another step in the Texas tradition of bold experimentation? Or is it a step too far? Thank you for exploring the hidden corners of Texas with us. Click on the video you see on the screen to check out other hidden discoveries on our channel.